We are blessed to be alive. We're blessed, as we say, not just to be alive, we're blessed to have the ability to be chayim, va'atem advekim Hashem Elokeichem, chayim kulchem hayom, that we are not just alive, right? Rishayim b'chayim nikru mesim. A person could be walking around, he could be breathing, but he's not living, he's not growing, he's not pushing out of his comfort zone and moving in directions, whether it's inward, whatever it might be. Everybody knows themselves, like we've said many, many times, that growth is not necessarily, working harder. Sometimes people need to learn how to relax a little bit. That's also growth. People think when you say, "Oh, yeah, I got to work on myself. I got to get out of my comfort zone." Sometimes out of my comfort zone, a person's comfort zone, I know myself. I can talk for myself. You relate, Bensi? That what?
I always work myself. Not always. I often work myself way too hard.
Exactly. So we should talk more because I have the same problem. So hopefully you're a little bit younger than me. So hopefully by the time you get my age, you'll know how to relax. You'll know how to take it easy, right? That's my problem. My challenge is that I have trouble out of my comfort zone is doing nothing and sitting around meditating. Even if I'm meditating, around that I'm like actively doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, So working on oneself is not shavel lakol. It's not equal to everybody. Some people, Bensi, who are very lazy, need to push themselves more. And the guys who extra push themselves need to learn to chill out a little bit, right? So like we said the other day, it's about knowing yourself. It's really about learning yourself, because once you're comparing yourself to other people, so then you don't know if what you're doing is the right thing. But if you say, this is what I know I need to do, and that's why we need friends, that's why we need rebbeim, that's why we need mentors, that's why we need people in our lives to tell us that this is what is good for you, and we'll resist it. The natural thing, especially the older you get and the more you've done something, the more you're going to resist. You will resist. Hashem could come to you himself and tell you, this is what you need to do. And then you'll be like, no, I know better. I know better what I need to do. I know I have that sometimes with Waze. Sometimes you could beat Waze. Sometimes Waze is like, okay, I don't know why he's telling me to go. I know how to go and it works. But sometimes I'll be like, Waze will tell me to go a certain way and I'll be like stubborn, not to listen to it. And I pay for it, even though actually the other day I did it. It was a better route. But the point is, okay, Waze is just Waze. But I'm saying when you have other people, at least to ask advice, to humble yourself, right? The midah, we were just learning a little bit before. The midah of humility is probably one of the most. It's very hard to be humble. To listen to someone else. I say this many times, your friends are not so much your friends because they're your friends, it's because they agree with you. Some people don't like when people disagree with them, right? Even though us, right, what do? We learn Gemara, we learn in the Torah, we learn Halacha, and what's it all about? It's all about machlakusim. It's all about a machlokas. Chas v'shalom, there's no hate. Chas v'shalom, right? Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, right, and Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Meir, and the Chachamim, Chas v'shalom, they loved each other more than we could ever imagine. Just what? They disagree, right? As Mesilas Yesharim says, in Mesilas Yesharim, he says in Anava, he says that where is it? He says a beautiful thing. He says that Chazina l'Rabbi da'ako da'amar iu chad taima va'omar amora chad taima v'loy kapid. Amina lav anvisana ana. He says that he said one thing, and Rabbi Abba from Akko, Rabbi Avo says, first I thought that I was humble, but then I saw Rabbi Abba from Akko that he said something, and another Amora said something else, and he disagreed, and he wasn't makbid. So if someone disagrees with you, the natural thing is to say, hey, what are you talking about? I know better. But it's very important for a person to be able to be flexible to hear different opinions, which is a segue, if anyone wants to comment, which is a very good segue into Lashon Hara. Why? Because why do we speak Lashon Hara about other people many times? Because they're different than us. Somebody's different than me. We don't like when people are different. We want everybody to be just the same, but someone's different. Maybe this guy, yeah. Maybe this person, is a little bit, more, has less boundaries than you do. Maybe this guy has more boundaries than you do. Maybe this guy likes to dress this way, or his opinion is like this, and his opinion is like that. What's wrong with that? That's a question you want to ask yourself. Why does it bother me? The greatest question to ask yourself when you see someone doing something or you have a negative eye on someone, that you could ask the question, why does it bother me? You could write it down. You can get it clear. Why does it bother me so much? Why does that guy bother me that I have to talk to other people about him? Why can't I just live? Now, if someone's actually affecting you, if someone's actually hurting you, if someone's in your life and they're hurting you and they're being mashpia on you, okay, so then that could be something that's appropriate, whoever it might be. I don't want to be hurt by that person. I don't want to be affected by that person. That's something that you can really explore and say, okay, maybe I need to move away from that person. I have to change my room. I have to live in a different city. I know someone who lived in a city, Mamish Maisa Shahaya, that they lived, I don't want to get into too many details, they lived in a city and the person actually moved their house. They sold their house and moved to a different part of the neighborhood because their neighbor they didn't think it was a good influence on their children, on themselves, whatever. They literally picked up and moved. Great, that's awesome. Instead of sitting there the whole time hating on someone, that's your neighbor. Okay, it's the same with your roommate. If your roommate, I love when people complain about. I don't love when people complain about their. You know what I'm saying? I love when people talk about their roommate the whole year. My roommate. Well, it's not like you're talking about my wife. Okay, then you got to deal with it on a thing. You're not going to say, okay, let me get another wife. But your roommate, right? What's that line, right? What's that? I have it on my stender, right? If your child tells you 1,000 times, I should know Baal Peh already, right? If a child knows, if the child doesn't, if you tell your child 1,000 times,
The child still doesn't get it. It's not the child. It's
say it out loud. See, sure, the Gavaldik. Say it again.
You tell the child something 1,000 times and the child still doesn't respond. It's not the child who's a slow learner.
Right, beautiful. Sure, I love it. Beautiful. That's what happens when you sit here with a notebook writing everything down. Baruch Hashem. If you tell your child, and it doesn't just to apply to your child, it applies to yourself, right? The pshat is you tell, right? You're thinking in your mind, Mom, why can't Mom do X, Y, and Z? I've thought this thought 1,000 times. How come she can't get it right? Your mom's not the problem. You're the slow learner. Your dad, whatever it might be. Everyone has different relationships that they struggle with. Say, why can't that person get their stuff together, get their act together, whatever it might be, and you say it over and over and over and over again in your mind. So who is the one who's the problem? You're the problem. And that's really where Lashon Hara begins. Lashon Hara begins. I thought actually last night, I was thinking about it, because in the daf, in Daf Yomi, the Gemara says that a mitzora, the Lashon the Lashon was talking about the tsar, and it said the tsar of Rabim, because the Gemara says a tushtel with the mitzora, the pain of a mitzora, and the tsar of Rabim. I said, wait, mitzora are the same letters as tsar. Mitzora and tsar. Tsar means pain. Mitzora is the same letters as pain. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Why? Because why is someone a mitzora? One of the reasons a person is a mitzora is because he speaks Lashon Hara, is because he speaks bad about other people. So the mitzora is someone who speaks, right? That's why we say motzi ra, right? You have ra within you and you take it out, right? It comes out of you. So I was thinking, beautiful. The Gemara the Gemara was comparing something, but it hit me. Metzora are the same letters as tsar. Why? Because someone who's talking negatively about somebody, someone who's talking negatively or thinking negatively about someone is actually in pain. You're actually in pain. That's what I think one of the tzaddikim say. That's the pshat v'ahavta l'reyacha kamoicha. You have to love the ra. Reyacha meaning melashon ra. V'ahavta l'reyacha. You have to love the ra within you, right? Which is a high madrega. It's a high level to say, I actually love my shortcomings. But you know what? When you speak to the right people and you have the right mentors and you have the right rebbeim and you have the right therapist or the right whoever is helping you, your parents, an older brother, a guy who's older than you, whoever it might be, and they are able to help you understand that you're who you are and your struggles are unique to you, and Hashem gave you your struggles for yourself, for you, then you start looking at people the same exact way. You start looking at people and you start saying, you know what, this guy's different, this one's like this one's like that. I'm not afraid of the differences. I'm not afraid of being different. I'm not afraid of them being different. Okay, let's learn a halacha, but please, question, comments. Where is I saw Yehuda. Yehuda's here? I wanted him to hear that. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh, you are, Yehuda. I said I saw Metzora is the same letters as Tsar. Tsar and Metzora, Tzadi Ayin Reish, and Metzora has the Tsar, because the pshat is that someone who's talking Lashon Hara, someone who's, it's like you got to judge. I just chapped. This just fell min hashamayim. I just chapped. The guy who, I don't like when people speak Lashon Hara. I get upset at them. But I just chapped. It's not good to get upset. I have to judge them also latov. I have to love them also. Why? Why? Because they're in pain. That's all. Look at the fact that they're in pain. A guy's sitting there and he's talking Lashon Hara all day. It's like, oh yeah, I feel so bad for him. Besides the fact that he's doing terrible things, klape shmaya. But I feel bad for the guy. Why? Because he must be in so much pain, right? It's like the bully. I don't feel bad for the bully, right? You gotta, take care of bullies. But I'm saying a bully is in pain. Someone who's hurting someone, hurt people. That's it. So people who speak, yes.
I thought you were saying you do feel bad for the bully.
What?
You said you don't feel bad for the bully?
Of course, I feel bad ultimately for the bully, but I don't like saying that. It's like saying, oh, the guy who murdered someone, oy vey, I can't believe he murdered someone. He must have been in so much pain for the fact that he murdered someone. No, I'm just saying I'm saying we take care. Ultimately that is also true, but I'm saying we have to protect the victim. That's what I was saying. You have to protect someone who's being bullied. Now you have to deal with the bully also, but I don't want it to sound like you have a bully and a guy who's being bullied and you're like, oy vey, I feel so bad for the bully. I'm trying to be very clear about that. No, feel bad for the victim. Don't worry about the alcoholic who's beating up his kids. You don't feel bad for the alcoholic. I feel bad for the kids. Now once we get, one second. Once we get the kids safe and once we take care of the kids, then yes, a higher madrega would say like, yes, obviously this alcoholic is in pain as well. I'm just saying you have to be careful in how it's.
It sounds like, tell me from the other side, that
Yeah.
you're concerned that if you feel bad for the alcoholic or for the bully, that's going to prevent you from helping them.
No, I'm not. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's important to look at things in the natural, healthy way, which is someone who hurts other people, right, needs to be stopped, and we need to take care of the people who are being hurt. And you have to look at a victim versus a perpetrator. I don't know what the word for the non-victim, the assaulter, right? Okay, now we're talking in a much deeper level. Yes, that guy's in a lot of pain. That's all I'm saying. Yes. I don't know how long you're going to say. I don't know how long you're going to be.
It's not long.
Let's go. It's fine.
A guy was trying to pull a guy into the dancing right now.
Right.
And I was in the kitchen, and I was able to hang out with the kitchen staff, and I mentioned to them, like, everybody's so angry at the guy pulling the guy in, because, like, dude, just let the guy not dance.
Right.
And I'm like, Adarab, like, the guy pulling him in, like, he's not even in touch with, like I feel bad for him. And then the Imam said what the Rav said, like, well, what do you mean? He's the abuser. He's the one attacking the guy. And it was just Imamish that nice conversation with the Rav saying that. So for me, I was, in my mind, I was having a hard time like wrapping my head around it. Why can't we have free compassion?
Right, so we don't. So good. So it's a different conversation. The world of psychology has messed a lot of things up. Because of that, is that we have compassion for everyone, and of course we have to have merachamim, right? You have to have rachmanus on everything, but in a regular, systematic, healthy society, and the proper way to look at things is when you have two children fighting, or you have two people, and you have someone who is hurting the other one, and someone is oppressing the other one. It's our responsibility to protect the oppressee and the victim, the one who's being hurt. You want to deal separately with why the bully is bullying everybody, and go down to the fact that his father bullies him, his older brother bullies him, and he himself might be in a lot of pain. That's also true. But the first look, which is the obvious appropriate look, is to protect the victim. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's very important. A person can get confused when you start saying that hurt people, so then you start saying, oh yeah, I have so much rachmanis for the guy who's hurting everybody. Yes, ultimately I do have rachmanis for him, but I need to be focused on the people who are being hurt, not the person who is hurting. I first need to attend to the people who are being hurt, not the person who is hurt. Maybe we'll say it like that. Person who's being, maybe that's how we could distinguish. The person who is being hurt needs to be safe, needs to be taken care of, needs to be protected. Having compassion for everybody in a practical sense means that who says the person who's being hurt, right, needs to be protected. We need to protect the person who's hurting. Okay, it's getting into. I think it's pasha what I'm saying. I don't think it's a chiddush what I'm saying. Huh? Yeah. Okay. I think it's pasha. You have to protect the person who's being hurt, and that's it. Not the person who is hurt.
Right. I don't think I'm discarding.
Right.
I'm talking about the guy being hurt. I'm talking about the guy who's hurting him. I'm talking about having compassion for him.
Right. Correct. 100%. I'm just saying. I'm just laying it out very clearly. That someone who's speaking Lashon Hara is terrible that he's speaking Lashon Hara. Once you're able to separate that, you could then deal with the person who's speaking Lashon Hara. But it's important to protect somebody who's being hurt by somebody else. That's all.
Why is it a contradiction to protecting somebody by having compassion for the guy who's assaulted?
Yeah, if that's a way that you can prevent someone from doing it, 100%. Yeah, 1,000,000%. Correct. I'm just saying, the reason I was saying it is because people can start thinking that when you have a case where someone's hurting someone else, you're having compassion for the guy who's hurting someone else. Your first step is to have compassion for the person who's being hurt. That's your first, that is our duty to do that. Yes, the guy who's walking around the street, who's robbing people and murdering people, and he's on cocaine and heroin, of course he's in tremendous pain. Great, let's lock him up, let's get him taken care of, and then we'll get him all the therapy that he needs, and we'll heal him. But first let's get everybody around him safe. That's all I'm saying. And what happens sometimes is people say, oh, I have rachmanis for him, so therefore let him, give him, no, don't give him anything. You got to protect the people. That's all I was saying. Sometimes that talk of like, oh, a guy is going through so much pain, so then we forget the regular natural order of taking care of the people who we need to take care of. I'm not saying that jails, this gets into a different discussion. I don't know anything about jails. I don't know much about jails. I'm not saying that jails shouldn't have psychologists and healers and whatever they have to help people who are there for committing, right? I don't have such an opinion about it. I'm just thinking about it right now. It's probably the first time I'm saying it. But I'm happy that someone's in jail. If they hurt people and they rob people and blah, 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 stay in jail. Do all the love in jail. You know what I mean? When your kid, and the reason I'm saying that, right, is because when your kid is beating up your other kid, and Amir Tashem, I give everybody here a bracha, that your children should fight. I mean, everyone's like, what? Oy vey, right? What kind of crazy bracha is that? Right? Because that means that they're normal, healthy, right? Did anyone here ever fight with your siblings? Yes, of course. It's a very normal, when you have children, they're going to fight. They're going to fight. They're going to fight, right? So it's a strange bracha, but that's normal. It's normal to have children that you have this one, give this is mine, this is mine. It's okay. That's why I'm giving you guys a bracha, because that means you have children and they're healthy and they're running around. But what's the eitzah? The eitzah is learn, how are you going to learn to intervene? How are you going to learn to intervene? And when one child is hurting another child, there's nothing to talk about. You must protect the child who's being hurt. Then obviously all your children are equally loved by you and are equally paid, being taken care of by you, and of course. So you need to understand, why is this child who is hurt, why is he hurting another child? But it's very important to have that, as opposed to, okay, they're both in pain, let's deal with it. No, both, I don't know, both in pain. The older brother is beating down the younger brother, or vice versa. The younger brother, usually that doesn't happen, but the younger brother is bullying the other brother. It's okay, you got to take care of that. That's all I was saying. Okay, thank you, Simcha Rabba. Thank you, Simcha Rabba. Yeah, it's important, it's good. Yeah, Dr. Yehuda, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I love what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think it's true. Like if one sibling is hurting another sibling, like the message needs to be given over very clear, and that's done by me picking up the one that's being hurt.
Exactly. And protecting.
Yeah, protecting and being
exactly.
And afterwards, of course, go over and compassionately connect with the child who obviously was hurt, and that's why she was hurting her.
Right. Exactly. But what happens is when everyone's equal and we equalize everything, so then it's like, it's okay that you're hurting because you must be hurt. You're being pounded. Compassion for that is dangerous. B'shas Maisa. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I think we'll wrap up. Hashem should help us all. As we said, the first step for all of us when it comes to Hilchos Lashon Hara. We didn't even say the halacha. Let's do the halacha. The halacha is you're not allowed to talk negatively about someone's family. You're not allowed to say, I heard that so-and-so's parents are dishonest, or so-and-so's family is arguing over their father's inheritance. When you talk negatively about someone's family, so it is also under that's Hilchos Lashon Hara, Daled Aleph. That's also Lashon Hara. You're not just talking about the person himself, but you're talking about, you're not even saying anything about the person. You're just saying their family is X, Y, and Z. Yes, Aviel.
What happens
Yeah, that's very. If you're talking about the fact that people ask that, what's the question? You have to be very careful with shidduchim. There's no heter. People think when it comes to shidduchim, it's like litoelis. What I mean? People throw the word litoelis. I'm asking for shidduchim. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous what people answer when it comes to shidduchim and how to say. It's not so simple how to respond. You need to be very. It's hard. It's challenging. It's challenging when it comes to shidduchim, because on one hand you want to be as honest as you can with people. On the other hand, it could be lashon hara. It depends where it's coming from. Yes.
I learned yesterday on one of the big book you have in the big junior.
Yeah.
They were saying that was actually learning regarding shidduchim, like I got to that chapter again, whether or not you're allowed to say lashon hara regarding shidduchim, and it was saying there are certain times where you're chayav. I mean, obviously,
That's what I was saying. Right.
there are certain times where
That's why it's tricky.
examples where if a certain thing's true, like if he's not declaring, so you don't even have to have anything else. You have
Right.
to say it. So there are times.
Right. That's what I was saying. I was saying there are things sometimes that you have to say, but it's you don't want to just use the, I hold he's an apikoros, so therefore, you know what I mean? I don't know who's I don't know who's an apikoros anymore. I don't know who falls under that category. But like Aviel was saying, there are things that you do have to say, but you have to be careful not just to say, oh, because it's for shidduchim and because I learned in the junior Chavetz Chaim thing, so I could say whatever I want. It's not so simple. Especially if you don't like the guy, especially if you don't like the family. There are a lot of things. Okay, Hashem will help each other. Yes, Yehuda.
So, jumping back to the last
Yeah.
conversation.
Yes.
How does one sort of like decide where that line of one sibling hurting another sibling is? So like let's say that let's say somebody has a child that's in a tremendous amount of pain and they're not keeping Shabbos or they dress differently.
Right.
And parents feel like that may be harmful to the other siblings.
Yeah, that's very. Yeah. So that's a great question that's asked a lot, and this is definitely not the forum and the time to address it. It's very complex because like we were saying before, as a parent, every child needs to be taken care of, and every child needs the proper attention. And sometimes those children who are acting out actually need even more attention and more love. At the same time, there's the expense. Yeah. At the expense of another child. That's very challenging, because one child hurting another child, is hard. It's hard to that balance. Look at the Shvatim. Look what Yaakov Avinu is the paradigm of the father with children. That's what his purpose in this world was, to create the Shvatim. And what do we have with the Shvatim? We have fighting and we have quarreling, and it's hard. Not pashut. So it's definitely not the forum to talk about practical things now. But as a parent, that's why you have to be healthy as you could be yourself with your wife. Okay, now we're getting into shalom bayis, but it's true, because if you guys are not on the same page, then that's definitely going to affect your children and how you deal with situations like that. Okay, yeah, we'll give you some Rabbi just because you're jumping out of your seat.
This is part of it.
Yes.
They asked me, gosh, there was like 8 kids, and 7 of them were mamish, Bnei Aliyah, next Bella Dor.
Right.
And they're this 8th kid is mamish destroying their house. And I'm almost sure it was Rabbi Yashiv.
Right.
And Rabbi Yashiv thought about it, and he was okay, so you have to ask them to live at somebody else's house. And he told them that all these other 7 kids, they seem great, they're all doing good. So have aunts and uncles, let them take care. And I think he told them you have 3 months or 6 months with the one,
Nice.
Listen,
Beautiful.
I know,
Beautiful.
Obviously.
Right. Yeah. We're not poskening that. Right. It's just to have that, to have the look of the how to do things like that. 100%. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Shkoyach Yehuda. Thank you. Beautiful. Hashem should help all of us. We should all be zocha. At the end of the day, when it comes down to what we're talking about, being a parent and taking care of children, you must take care of yourself. You must always be focused. Always be focused. Even Emir Tashem, when you're a parent and you're a grandparent, whatever level you are, you want to always be taking care of yourself, because that will be the best way for you to overflow to your children and all the people around you. Have a wonderful first day of the rest of your life.